It is card number 128 from the 1953 Bowman color set. It's Whitey Lockman from those New York Giants. And here he is again, manning first base at the Polo Grounds. Shout out to our friend Nina S., who's a fan of first base baseball cards. And she and I talked about this card at one point. And it's a great one. Not just because he's at first, but also because it's a unique angle of the Polo Grounds. Let's take a quick look at the back here. Until 1951, Whitey had been an outfielder. However, that year the Giants needed help at first base, and Whitey was elected. In the span of one season, he became regarded as one of the best in the league. So there you go. If it's card number 128, it must be session number 128. Of Card Room Live. It's not a show. It's a hangout for fellow vintage collectors. Whether we have guests or not, we're going to waste some time looking at and talking about vintage cardboard, and through it all, we're going to make it time well wasted, everybody. So if you're here with us live, welcome to you. Welcome to all my fellow YouTubers, to the commenters, to the folks from all over social media land. If you're new to Card Room Live, don't be afraid to say hello. This is the live stream where everybody knows your name, and if we don't, we soon will. If you're listening to this later, perhaps going to or coming home from work, sorting cards, looking at eBay, walking the dog, rolling out those meatballs, sitting on the john, putting the kids to bed. Maybe you just came in from swimming. Maybe. Maybe you're wondering if Eddie Wakis is going to come up tonight. It's entirely possible. I think some of these guests that we have are massive Eddie Wakis fans. You might be wondering what other kind of Mike Fuller we're going to get into tonight. Whatever you're doing, I hope you get something out of it. If you want to get in touch or have ideas for future sessions, you can email me at bowman53channel@gmail.com. You can also find me on Instagram, bowman53_Alex, on X1953 Bowman Color, and also on Blue Sky, Bowman53. You can find all that information located in the description below. Let's see, who is bringing this session of Card Room Live to us tonight? How about Wheaties, the Breakfast of Champions? Lou Gehrig, the Iron Man of baseball, says that he believes anyone who wants to go places in any sport has to keep in good physical shape, and you have to eat smart. I think Lou's totally on track. And there's nothing better than a bowl full of Wheaties with plenty of milk or cream and sugar. Try Wheaties. You'll be glad you did, because Wheaties sure taste great. And Lou would know because, of course, he played in 2,130 consecutive games. Wheaties, the breakfast of iron horses. So let's do a quick roll call and let's bring these guests in. I already mentioned Stuke is here, and he came out of the pool for it. Good to see you, Stuke. Drew Clean Cheap Shots is here. Jacob is here. What's up to you? Having just finished Casino. So that's a great follow-up. Card Room Live right after Casino. Totally goes together. Jay Hawker is here. Beat Up Cards is here. Ruben is here. A Wrench Holder Reindeer Studios is here. Stephen with a PH. Rob the Baseball Time Traveler. Peter B. Reese, ND Card Ranger is here. Lonely Basement Baseball Cards. Mark Hoyle. Video Guy 316. Litzy Sports Cards is here. Lonely Basement Baseball Cards is here. And we've got Melissa Gager. Good to see you, Melissa. Called Shot Cards is here. Mike, you're not too late. You're all good. This Mike is too busy getting ready for another live stream in an hour. Mike, we totally understand. We've got the whole Mike thing covered tonight, though, so it's going to be all good. Hammer 44 is here, and Mr. Orlando, Collector's Dream, is here. Orlando, it's so awesome to see an Orlando message saying, hello, everybody. Missed you, buddy, and glad to see you here. Pastor Craig is here. Warren D and CLE is here. All right, so great to see everybody. We've got 3 folks waiting in the wings, and we're going to do another fun session of Cards with Stories. So I'm going to get these gentlemen in here. Everybody knows this guy. What's up, Don?
What's up, Alex? Hi, Scott.
Good to see you. Looking forward to seeing some cards from Don. This gentleman just finished an hour doing a live stream, and now he's about to do another one.
Hey, Alex. Good to see everybody.
I appreciate your stick-to-itiveness, Sammy.
Yeah, man.
And also really happy to have this mic cover for the other Mike, Mr. Baseball Collector's here. What's up, Mike?
No good live stream happens without a mic being on it. I mean,
That's totally true. Totally true. Glad to have you here, Mike. All right, guys. So this is going to be fun. We're going to do Cards with Stories. If you're new to Cards with Stories, pretty simple stuff. I asked these guys to pull from their collections. These three guys have great collections. But what's going to be fun is we don't know what cards they've chosen. And it's totally up to them. They are picking cards from their collections that have a story behind it. Maybe it's about the player. Maybe it's about the card itself, some historical element. Maybe it's a personal story, hobby story, whatever it might be. And we're going to hear those stories and get to see those cards. So let's see. Don, let's start with you.
Okay. So I picked something that I don't typically collect this sport, and I don't collect autographs, but I am a massive Penn State football fan. So I do collect Penn State football guys. So here's an autograph of Lenny Moore, 1956. Hall of Famer for the Colts, but he played for Penn State, one of the early greats at Penn State, and just a cool card without the face mask on it. And so I thought I'd show something a little different. It's nice for me to get Penn State players because they're pretty easy to get and they're pretty cheap. And one of the all-time great Nittany Lions.
It's beautiful. I don't collect football, but that's a beautiful looking card. Like it's funny how any vintage card, regardless of the sport, just has like something going for it.
Yeah, no doubt. And this card has seen some better days, but it was purely, it was cheap and it was like autographed, and why not?
Right. Absolutely. All right, cool. Mike, let's go to you.
Oh, I'm going to do this. This is for you, Alex.
I appreciate it. Let's do it.
53 Bowman color Mickey Mantle.
Beautiful.
And it's a 3. I got this at the National a few years ago. It's one of those cards that had eluded me for a long time in my Mantle run. And I remember seeing this card in 2018, pre-blow up. It was at a big boot. It was a Baseball Card Exchange actually had it. And they had a PSA 5 of this card for $150. And
wow.
Yeah,
wow.
not anymore. Not anymore. And I remember, I was like wanting to buy. I don't remember what else I was wanting to buy. Certainly something stupid compared to what I should have bought, which was the Mantle at the time. And I remember that, that'll blow my budget, or that'll, I remember trying to talk myself out of getting it. And I ended up, I'll get it later. And I never went back and got it. And then I kept going on the Mantle run, and this was one that eluded me. And so I ended up paying almost like 8 times as much for this one in a 3, in 2022 or 2023 when I bought it. That just goes to show, if you see a card and you like it, buy it. That's the story with that card. But I had to show a 53 Bowman color for you. Just
absolutely. Well, it's funny because I only know about the pricing from you guys who've been collecting longer than I have. That those cards were far less expensive. And I paid what I paid for that Mantle because I got it in 20. When did I get that? 2019, I guess. But I'm glad I got it then because this thing just keeps going up. So
what do you have? Like a 9 or something, Alex?
No.
Only an 8.
Only an 8.
No, I think it's a 2, maybe. All right, Sammy, you're up.
So a lot of the cards I picked for tonight all kind of have an intertwining theme to it.
Nice.
So this card I picked up is like the direct result of the Hobby Network and the Hobby Gods kind of just things lining up the way they're like you want them to. So it is my 1915 Cracker Jack of Christy Mathewson. So just a little backstory on this. This card is the result of putting a feeler out there on Net 54. And Net 54, I put a feeler out there, made a mention like, hey, I'm looking to buy this card. And like most of the time, when you make any sort of like request on Net 54, you get crickets. Not a lot of, not a lot of reaction. But because of the just the hobby network that we're involved in, I got a message on Instagram from a collector who happens to watch my live streams from time to time, and he said, "Hey, I have a buddy who's selling one of these." And gives me all the insight, all the details, tells me how much he wants for it, tells me everything, sends me photos. And he says, hey, email him, let him know, and see if you can work out a deal. And I mean, we were able, obviously worked it out, got the card, but this is like right before Strongsville, actually, this year. And ultimately, I mean, it's just we talk about this, and I actually listened to Mike's guest that he had on for the Golden Age of Cardboard, who was a specialist, and he wrote a book on the 1914, 1915 Cracker Jacks.
Right.
And it just kind of like made me appreciate this even more. So really, ultimately, it's just the relationships within the hobby. The connections that you have and the people that you interact with can really unlock some absolute gems.
Right. Absolutely. And it's especially, great because this is a player that you're after, and really that's a huge part of putting together a Matheson PC. I have to throw this up here on the screen. $5 cards on eBay sounds fun.
Sammy, thanks for listening to the podcast. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Anytime I can get a moment where I'm going somewhere, driving a long distance, it's a great podcast to listen to. So,
right, definitely. All right, Don, we're back to you.
Okay, so everyone knows I like to collect Stan Musial, and I consider this a card because SGC and PSA grade them, even though it's really not a card. And I try finding kind of unique items when it comes to Stan because he doesn't have many cards, and the ones I don't have are just very rare and ridiculous price. So this is a 1950 pinup. That's one of the best cards, Mike, ever. 1950 pinup, and this came in a book. You can see the little holes here, and sometimes this piece right here is missing. And it's just talks a little bit on the back. And I have the Kiner, which this is missing. And I know Ted Williams is in the set. Mark Hoyle, who's on here, probably has it. But just a cool, unique piece that you don't find every day. And that's not rare, but, it's a nice piece to have to the collection. And I just think it's really cool.
Yeah, Don, I haven't really seen that much. Was the idea was it like a book and you're supposed to like cut it out? Like cut out the circle? Or?
No, they're called pin-ups, so you're supposed to put pins in here.
Oh, okay. All
so
right.
Mookie wouldn't like it because it already has the pinholes in it. You would put them in and pin them up onto the wall. And I haven't looked on eBay in a while, but every once in a while you'll see the whole book on there of these. Okay. So I'm not sure how many players, and I mentioned those two others, but I'm not sure who else is in that collection.
Right, Stephen with PH has.
Yeah.
Oh, he has the whole
book.
Like
the first thing. That was the first thing he bought at the show. I think he bought that from. Did he buy that from Howard, or did he buy? I can't remember who he bought it from.
I remember when he bought it. Is that something, Don? Do you want to get the whole book now, or
no? I just wanted
just having them usual.
Yeah, that's all I wanted. And I'm guessing Jackie's probably in it if Stephen bought it. So
yeah, Jackie's in it.
That was the premise for why he bought it.
Right, I figured.
Makes sense. Okay, Mike, you're next.
You put me on the spot here. Okay. Why not?
Yeah, wow.
PSA 3. This was a 2019 national purchase. And I remember buying this with Eric, and we were in the show, super early and kind of before everybody. And yeah, just started going around. This was the hunt card for that year. And I always like to buy my target cards pretty much as early as I can, right? Because I want as many to choose from. And so we looked at probably 75 or 80 different Hank Aaron rookies. There were some, I mean, they're not uncommon, right? And so I was looking for that perfect cost, grade, condition. I don't even like to say grade, just condition, right? Doesn't even,
Right.
numerical grade's kind of irrelevant, but just the overall condition of it. That great combo that I call value, right? And I remember paying $1,000 for this, and I thought I was nuts. So I was like, I can't believe I'm paying $1,000 for a card. But yeah, pretty good deal at the time. And
Absolutely.
so these are just like my story's theme is just cards I've wanted forever that I finally own, and I'm just still, even no matter how long it's been, just thrilled to own them, and
Totally
fun to not have to search for them anymore. It's probably the best part of that.
Yeah, and I mean, what you described, Mike, I probably picked up from, because I was on YouTube maybe a couple years before I actually went to the National. But I like that strategy of like, okay, I'm going to the National. I got a card that I really want to get, and it's a big card, but I'm going to go to the National, and I know that I'm going to see like 100 copies of them. But that just maximizes my chances of finding the perfect storm in terms of, like you said, condition and just value. And it's fun actually to like pick the one that makes the most sense.
The funny thing is that one wasn't even in the guy's showcase. He had like 4 or 5 in his showcase, and it just didn't. He's like, oh man, I got like 3 or 4 more back here, and he pulled out the showcase or pulled out out of the back and some case at the back and went, here you go, here's some more, and that one was one of those from the others that weren't even good enough to be in the showcase or whatever. It's like,
yeah, okay,
sure. I'm glad I just mentioned, none of these really fit the bill. And he just I think it is important to ask, and I wasn't doing that. I'm
right.
kind of harping on myself for not saying, hey, do you have any more of these? But it worked out.
Right. Awesome. All right, Sammy.
So I could continue with the Mathewson run, but I will switch it up just for this particular round. So kind of tying back in with the whole collector network aspect. This one was purchased within Facebook on one of the oddball groups, or the oddball group that Howard runs. There's a seller on there who is a huge maze enthusiast, and this one is one of the more challenging ones to find. It is none other than the 1953-55 Howard Service Photo Willie Mays, the 7-Up card. And so what does that mean exactly? On the back, this is a compliments of 7-Up Bottling Company of Minneapolis. It's a postcard, and it's kind of hard to read, but I believe there's this at some point belonged to a kid, and he was writing to a friend of his asking him if he can send him some Stan Musial cards in return. But so going back to the card in particular, there's not too many of these graded out there. You don't really see these that often. There's actually one on eBay right now, I think. I don't know if it's sold yet. That's in much better shape. But the person who I bought this from, huge maze enthusiast, and we've connected over maze on other items before. I've purchased from him before, and we've developed a good kind of connection with, just appreciating a lot of the rare and unique beauties of maze that exist out there. And this is just one of the difficult ones that you can't find. So obviously the 52 Coca-Cola, I show that almost every video I can. I'm not going to do it tonight. So instead, I'm showing you the Tamer 7-Up, because the Coca-Cola is blasting marketing all over the place. This one just has a very simple text, 7-Up. So there you go.
Nice. I gotta throw this up on the screen for you guys. You know how it goes with Mr. Missouri.
I responded accordingly.
Yeah, Chris was crying. Mike. Feels like you deserted him.
I responded accordingly. Don't worry, guys. I took it for all of us.
Yeah.
Let Chris know how we really feel about him.
There it is.
That sums it all up right there.
All right. Chris, we love you. Don, you're up.
Okay, so About 4 or 5 years ago, I'm perusing Facebook Marketplace and I see this garage sale, and they're showing all the photos of everything they're selling, and I see this box of cards sitting on the table in the photo, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I got there early, stood in line, which I never do that for garage sales, and I found this box, and there's about 300 cards in it, and I said to the woman, what do you want for it? She said $10. So there's about 319, or the Gaudi Indian cards.
Mm.
And I'm kicking myself to this day for not asking her if maybe there were some baseball cards in the back. So what I did was, I really have no interest in these cards. So I sent it into, I'm drawing a blank on the name, that you guys would know. He's the eBay seller that sells all the raw cards that everyone bids up.
Greg Morris.
Yes, thank you. So, and I don't normally talk prices, but I paid $10 for this set. And this one got sent back. I guess there was something they didn't like about it. The set sold for $8,000, and I pocketed $5,000 off of that $10 purchase.
Wow.
So I'll probably never have a fine like that again. But I almost felt guilty that I only gave the woman $10, but not guilty enough to get that money out of my pocket fast enough and get out of there with them.
That's the dream, man.
It was the dream.
That's great.
Did you have any idea they were
it.
worth that much?
I didn't think I was going to be happy if I got $1,000 for them. I knew, some of them went for like $800, and they were all in pretty good shape. So I knew they were worth something. I didn't, I'm like, man, if I turned $10 into $1,000 or even $800, I'd be thrilled. And they just kept selling. And, with 300 cards, it's like, I don't want to try listing these or, putting them on eBay myself and shipping them and packaging them. It was just so easy. I just send them all out to them, and they did all the work, and I took all the money. Or not all of it, but enough of it.
God. What Mookie said is so true.
What did he say? I can't.
He says, I'm sure that old lady got some cat food with that $10. So everybody's happy.
No, they had a pretty big, expensive house, so I don't know whose cars these were. But she was doing okay. They were moving to Florida, and they just had this garage sale.
All right, Mike, you're up.
All right. Since Chris from Missouri is here, he's kind of a wiener, so we'll show a little Roy Campanella, 54 Wilson Franks. These are just so cool.
They are.
And the Campy card, honestly, I hardly ever see them. They are really tough, and I don't know. I never see the Ted Williams anymore, by the way, which that's another card on my list is the Williams. That's gotten crazy expensive. But this card has gotten really expensive too.
Yeah.
Didn't you get that out in Vegas, Mike?
I did get it in Vegas. Very good, Don.
Thanks.
This was in
Vegas. I watch your channel once in a while.
Thanks. And I feel like I paid up for this, and I'm so glad that I did. Like I felt like I was overpaying, but again, today's high prices are tomorrow's discounts, right? So getting that card, and it's a beautiful 3. I mean, the numerical grade is kind of irrelevant. I just wanted the card. It's crease free and just, decent. These are hard, but they look so much like 54 tops. I love it with the floating wieners. I mean, it's just like hot dogs card. Yes. And again, a card I had looked for a really long time and had just never seen it really. And so one of those that was one I did buy it when I saw it. What's really great, the best part about it is I paid zero money out of pocket for it because it was in Vegas and I had won so much money playing blackjack that my blackjack winnings paid for this. That's what really made me go, oh, well, it's found money. So that's easy to spend. So let's go do that. And that's what I did.
That's a good one to do that with.
Yes.
That particular one.
Were you counting cards, Mike? You can admit it.
Well, no, I was not. Just on a good little heater. So
who doesn't love a floating wiener?
Doesn't everybody?
Nice.
All right, Sammy, you're up.
All right, guys. So I was talking about 7-Up before, and we're gonna bring it back to the other brand, Coca-Cola, but it's not the Maze. And so this one steps outside the collector focus that I normally go through, but it kind of ties in with tributes. So tributes are very important to me, and that is connected to the 1952 Coca-Cola Bobby Thompson.
Nice.
This one came from Bill Chappell's table at Strongsville this year. Or I'm sorry, no, this is at the Philly show. Excuse me, the Philly show prior to Strongsville. And so Bill had this waiting for me. And, it's obviously outside of my collector's focus, but my grandfather was, when he watched the Giants, my grandfather grew up in like the Upper West Side of Manhattan. So because of that, he became a Giants fan because he was only maybe not too far away from the Polo Grounds. And so he would catch Bobby Thompson play, and he kind of gravitated to Bobby Thompson. Now, thing is with this set is that you can get Bobby Thompson fielding as a third baseman, or you can get him hitting what looks like a home run. So it made more sense because of what he's famous for to get the one with him hitting. So ultimately, the connection here, buying it from Bill Chappell. So it's yet again another hobby resource. But ultimately, collecting can be a tribute. So, and this one is a tribute to my grandfather. So sadly, he passed away, but had a lot of good shared memories of him talking about his visits to the Polo Grounds.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. And is it?
Are you going to grade that, Sammy?
Yeah, I anticipate probably sending that one in. I have a bunch of raw stuff that I'll send in because I like PSA's size. Like their slab sizes are really good. Whereas, I mean, how I love SGC, but SGC's versatility when it comes to slab sizes, you get that big placemat of a size with this. It's just not going to look right. Aesthetically, I like the aesthetics of a slab. So PSA is I'm probably going to go with PSA on that.
Can I go off on a quick tangent and ask a question?
Go for it. Yeah.
You guys and or the audience, but I've got my Strongsville SGC order is still sitting in received status. What are we, 5 weeks away from that at least since we went to Strongsville? So at what point should I, say, hey, what's going on here? It feels like a long time. If I'd have known it was going to take that long, I would have just sent him to PSA. But okay. Ruben's saying his is too. All right. So maybe I don't feel so bad. Maybe it's just normal.
It seems to be a thing right now. I've had other people tell me the same thing.
And I only had 7 cards. It wasn't like, a huge order or something like that. Not a big order, but anyway, sorry for the aside there, Alex.
No, you're all good. We'll see if there's some more comments on that. There'll be some jokes about it. Okay, Don.
All right. Since Sammy's on here, I thought I would share this because he at this year's show in Strongsville, he took me over the table, and that's the 19. I think they're 52 decals.
52. Yep.
And this is the Type 2 with 2, and the Type 1 would just be the one shot. And so there's actually three of these that I could get. But Sammy took me over there, and this was just, going back to saying it's hard to find normal cards of Stan. It's just really nice to find these oddball ones. And I've been told that if you send this in for grading, because it's in the envelope and they can't see the corners, it only gets an authentic. You'd have to take it out of the envelope to get a grade, which I don't want to do. I like the envelope. I think that's what makes it kind of cool.
I will say this much, if you don't mind me just chiming in here.
No,
I will say this much about when it comes to the StarCal decals, authentic is, if you can't focus exclusively on the grade or label when it comes to that. And actually really just in general, I mean, the StarCal decals, you have to go by the condition. So the condition defines the value ultimately. It's not so much like, oh, it's an authentic that automatically defines it as a low value because it's authentic. There's parameters for different sets, but when it comes to that StarCal decal, it really comes down to the quality and the condition of it. So if anybody really kind of argues that, I think it's it's a lackluster argument.
And I would tell you, don't you dare pull that out of that envelope. That is just too.
No, I would never do that.
Do not.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Don't pull a Jake.
No,
Jake,
no,
Jake
you don't have to worry
Ranger.
about me, Mike. It's staying
Okay.
in there.
And I like seeing it in that border with the star decals.
Yeah, I think that's what makes
Oh,
it.
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
They
And it's a
they
color
they,
match. It's a color match for
distributed
the Cardinals.
they distributed
Yeah.
those in hardware stores in Chicago. That's how they were
Oh, really?
distributed. Yeah, I looked it up. I discovered that they were distributed in Chicago originally. I don't know if they expanded outward from there, but it was it was on like these racks, which you could find in hardware stores on like displays.
Okay.
It's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, Andrew Nuffsaid probably has one of the racks. That's
I
how
would
he
think
rolls.
so. They're customized specifically. But that company, they made a wide variety of decals for, like, they probably had licensing deals for all these different, like actors, actresses,
Oh,
shows.
sure.
Mhm.
Right.
So
It was just nice to see a different image of Musial
Yeah,
on a collectible, right?
absolutely.
All right, Mike.
So I knew Sammy also was going to be on this, so he's going to get a cool card. Well, he has it, I think. But one of the collections that we bought for Chasing Cardboard that I ended up being in charge of disseminating and getting, the goal is buy some cards, keep some cards, and then sell the rest, and that whole thing. And it was a local collection here, that friend of a friend kind of thing. And two of the cards that I instantly knew I was going to keep as soon as I saw him. And he only had two of these, and they happened to be the two that I would want out of this set. And they are the Hires Root
Oh, I
Beer.
love that set.
it's a good choice.
58. So the maze. What's funny is the tabs were torn off, but I actually have them. I think they're like right here somewhere. But I have the tabs. They were in the sleeve or the top loader, just behind the card. And so I sent these. I didn't care what grade they got. I just wanted to get them encased. And these were the only two he had. There's other great players in this set too, but he had Mays and Aaron, and I'm like, well, that makes that easy.
Yeah, I didn't know you had those, Mike. Those are great.
Yeah. Do you know what set this was going to be? If
Bowman, I
56
think, right?
Bowman.
Yeah.
it was going to be 56 Bowman, it's going to be that
Yeah.
set design. So cool. I mean, it's just such a cool design. I actually like it without the tab more. Sammy, you probably have it with the tab. Without the tab, you have the.
I don't have it with the tab, but I'm hopefully working out a way to get it. I'm in talks with somebody about one.
Do you have the test issue too? I think you
Yeah.
do, don't you? Yeah, I thought you
Myself, I think who else has one? Rick, I think Vintage Oddball Cards has one, and I know Tony has one. Tony at TJ's Online.
Andy had one for a while.
Mm-hmm.
She blinded me with the refractors because I bought it with it. I bought my 53 Tops maze with him, paired it with that card in LA when we were at the Burbank show, and he bought the test issue. He goes, you just never see this card. So
no,
he bought that. We flipped for it and won the flip and got it cheaper. So that was, but those are just such the stuff like the not Conjoiner, the
Wilson Franks.
Wilson Franks, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hires Ruber. That's just stuff that now I'm really gravitating towards. Like, give me the stuff you don't see all the time.
Right.
So John mentioned in the chat that he has one, and I think Dave Blue Jacket has one as well. The maze test with the tab. I mean, it's just remarkable. Those, you want to talk about scarce. I mean, even without the tabs, they're tough, but with the tabs and the test issue, impossible. Just impossible to find.
I remember this was years ago when I first learned about that, and when I first found out that was originally supposed to be a Bowman set, that they had done like market research and actually shared a few different mock-ups with kids and asked them which set or which card looks the most interesting to you, and all the kids picked the knothole design, and that's why they went, or that's why Bowman originally was going to go with it.
There's the tab.
Cool.
It's heartbreaking to see them separate.
I know.
I have the tab. I wonder, could I break it out and put the tab back on somehow?
Maybe you can get the tab graded.
John's saying just glue them to the bottom of the holder. But you know what? I hadn't really thought about this before, but the whole idea of the knot hole, I mean, that's such a 40s, 50s, even earlier than that, like kids trying to sneak a peek into the stadium without having gotten any money. And so just the idea that like I'm looking through the knot hole and I'm seeing Willie Mays or Hank Aaron or whoever it is, like that's such a great idea.
So cool.
All right. Sammy, I was trying to remember where we were.
Oh, it's all good. So, tying in with the collection network, this one comes from my buddy Mike who runs the Fish Kill show in New York. He's taken on a consignment recently, and an array of cards. And the collector's nickname is Sunshine. So Sunshine had a whole bunch of cards. I got a chance to meet Sunshine, talk with him a little bit, tell him how enthusiastic I am about collecting Mathewson. And so he said, "Well, you got to take a look at this." And lo and behold, the T205 gold border of Christy Mathewson and an SGC3. It was already graded when I bought it, and so really, again, it's just getting a chance to speak with the collector who had this, who went on a collecting journey and collected some amazing cards, and he was ready to pass down all these cards. I mean, I was just happy. He was happy that it was going to another Matty collector,
Right.
and so. But in particular with this card, I mean, it's just so difficult to find these without excessive chipping. I mean, when I saw this, I knew, I was like, this is a must, an absolute must-have. And you got the back, and this one's a Piedmont, and kind of gives a great bio and some great statistics over the years. And obviously, I mean, you can argue that this is the greatest shot of Matty on a card, on one of his cards. So
That's such a great set. I love that set.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So underrated too. Like, it feels like it's getting more popular. People are finally going, holy crap. I mean, the Cobb's gorgeous. I mean, I've got literally, there's the Tris speaker right here.
Yeah.
Right.
And the condition's always terrible, right? I mean, you've got
with that gold
border, for crying out loud. Welcome to chipping, heaven. And
that's why Sammy's is so nice. It doesn't have all that chipping on it.
Yeah.
I was very patient with that one, because again, it's not like you can't find them, but to find them without that excessive chipping is tough.
Right. Worth holding out for. Cool. All right, Don, back to you.
All right. So here's I'm going to show 2 cards here, and it's because this is outside my realm. I don't collect basketball, but the reason I want to show these, like, look at the condition of this.
Yeah.
Hall of Famer, paid under $10 for it. Another Hall of Famer. Now this one's off center, but if you look at the edges and the registration, and Hal Greer grew up in Huntington, West Virginia, which I pulled him out because I pass Hal Greer Highway every time I take my kids to school down in Huntington, West Virginia. And on this one, and maybe you guys have all known this, I didn't know it, but it says Frank H. Fleer. I never knew there was actually a person named Fleer. So that was new to me. So just showing, going off the normal and, Hall of Fame cards for under $10. Can't beat it.
Was the Dolph Shays also under $10 as well?
Yeah.
Wow, that's wild.
So
he's not a nobody. He's a Hall of Famer.
Right.
He's not a nobody.
I mean, they're both Hall of Famers. So
nice. All right, Mike.
All right. Again, gotta show a little. You show Matty, Sam. I'm just gonna I've got my just whole box. I actually just call it my banger box. So that's just the name of it.
I'm showing $8 cards and Mike's pulling out.
Yeah, let's just show that. Matty portrait. This was a last year national purchase. And one of those, didn't even really know I wanted it until I saw it, and it just looks so good. I probably showed this to you, Sammy, at the get together or something. The cool part is it's a sovereign back.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's
so cool.
Yeah. I mean
And,
I mean, any of those Maniport just qualify as a banger, but that just elevated it right there.
So yeah, it's just for the condition. Everybody looked at it. I love it when people see your cards and are like, why is this a 2? You know, and we all have to really investigate. And I literally had a loop, and one of the top corners looks like it's basically shaved off. There's a little bit of paper loss, which, you know, instant 2 or whatever, which perfect card for me. Like if you have to get a loop, you know, or stick it under an electron microscope to figure out what the hell's wrong with it, that's just fine by me, you know.
Yeah, right.
And you pay 2 prices, you know, that's the thing. It's, I mean, great. I'll take that all day. So thought you'd like
Fantastic.
that, Sammy. So.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's this again, like with the sovereign back. I mean, you're talking about some of the tougher backs to find, and especially finding one with that sort of centering and the registration to it. When it comes to any sort of condition issues on a tougher back, I mean, it's you throw that out the window and just appreciate the fact that you found something so glamorous like that.
I love the polar bear backs, and I'm kind of working on some, you know, just getting T206 Hall of Famers slowly, surely. It's not, I wouldn't call it a project I'm actively working on, but I'm definitely not ignoring them anymore like I used to, because I had so much other stuff I wanted. And the pre-war is just, you know, it's like, oh my gosh, here we go, you know. But getting a polar bear back would be something I'm of a, you know, decent Hall of Famer or something. I don't need a polar bear of Cobb or something like, or Cy Young or anything like that. But I just think they're so cool. I love all the different backs. I absolutely love it. So,
You know, Mike, you were talking about with the highest cards and you know, the Wiener card and these cards, different cards. You know, I was walking the show at Strongsville with Scott Rainier Studios, and I said, aren't you a little bit bored of looking at all these 50s and 60s and 70s cards? And not that we don't love them, and there's a lot of them I'd like to have, but it's like, I've just seen these so many times, and I guess I'm spoiled now. And to see stuff like you're showing, Mike, it's so cool to see different things, because I think we're all kind of just numb to these cards that we've seen thousands of times.
that's, you know, Dr. Beckett said that to me. He was on the podcast not that long ago. And I was like, what card are you looking? You know, I'm kind of like challenging him, and he's like, yeah. And I get it, but I'm starting to understand. I never, for a long time, I should say, I didn't understand that mentality. It's like, they're all cool, you know? And now the more and more shows you go to, Sammy, you go to so many shows, right? You're just like, another 52 mantle, you know? I mean, because they're genuinely just, I wouldn't say everywhere, but it's not like you can't find them. There's tons of them. And so give me the stuff that's just not seen every day. Not that it's not, I don't know. What was that DiMaggio that the Japanese?
The Cuban card.
Cuban,
the Propaganda Montiel.
Yeah, Propaganda that Darren got. Like I would have bought that card in a second had I seen it, and I'm kind of like happy for him because he's really a DiMaggio guy. And so I was thrilled for him. I was going to buy a Johnny Mize from the same guy. He had one of those just to have one as a, you know, type, and ended up I was literally about to buy. Orlando was with me, I think. And he's like, yeah, I've already got it sold to this other guy, you know? And I'm like the email had come in like 5 minutes before or something, like want, you know? And yeah, just that kind of stuff is just so much. I hear you, Don. I'm with you on the, all right, been there, done that. So
not that we don't appreciate them, and there's a lot of them I would love to have, but it's just like, show me something different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that way until I get one of the cards that, you know, like that 53 Bowman mantle. Like, yeah, I saw it a million times, but then when I found my copy, when you actually own it,
it's different in your collection versus a case. I get that.
Yes. Absolutely. Where were we, Sammy?
I'm down to 2 cards, but what I have here is 1967 Topps Venezuelan of Willie Mays.
Awesome.
This one
terrible.
Was purchased. What's that? Terrible?
Terrible. That's awful. You should just give that card to me. I don't know.
Well, just to give a little backstory on it before I give this card to Mike. This one comes from my buddy Brian Fish. He sets up at a lot of the New York shows, local shows, and so kind of I guess myself, Mookie, we're a bit spoiled because we always go to his table whenever we see him, and he's known for his tops Venezuelan setups that he has. He has like a lot of the Brettorados and a lot of the tougher 67s that you can't find. We've connected Brian to Matt from the Card Story because Brian had a super rare 67 Hank Aaron that he had on the display, and they worked out a deal. But it's not so much. I mean, I love the card obviously because it's Maze, but it's just it's what it does. It tells you a story of like the outreach to how these cards were discovered. And when I interviewed Pat Quinn and talked to him about his trips to Venezuela to discover that these cards existed, and his ventures with John Ramirez going out there and just bringing droves of these cards back. So it's kind of, I mean, even though this is graded a 1, the what's it called? The way to truly scale a Venezuelan grade is you multiply it by 2 or 3. I think that's Mookie's rule. The reason why I got a 1 is unfortunately the back. This is pretty common. They would put them in albums and then they would just tear up when they ripped them out. But the front looks fantastic. So ultimately, international with the variations that exist from all over the world. Having that face-to-face dealer relationship with Brian Fish, knowing that I can always reach out to him for some really cool stuff. It's an awesome thing.
Mm-hmm.
I love on the 67s, the borders are so thin, right? It's just like,
yes,
it's crazy.
Yes, it is I'll just kind of zoom in. Hopefully my camera registers it properly. But yeah, the camera's not doing a good job. But unfortunately, or not fortunately, but with these, they don't have they don't really have a frame or a border on them. The Brettorados are the same way.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, guys, we have time for maybe one more round. Don.
All right. With the Sammy mentioned placemats, I'll show a placemat.
All right.
So this is the 1954 All-Star Photo Pack, Stan Musial. And I bought this off of a guy who, every time I saw something cool sold on eBay or Facebook, he was scooping everything up. And
I remember that guy. Yes.
Yeah, and he ended up selling everything. And so I snagged this from him. And,
it's a beauty.
Did you grade that yourself?
Did I grade it myself? No,
yeah.
It was already graded.
Don, can you tell? Is that like spring training, or can you tell where that is? Or
I would guess it is just because of the guys standing right here.
Yeah.
That does not look like a major league ballpark.
No. It could be batting practice for all we know.
Right.
With that.
That's great.
That set is great because it has, Ernie Banks is in that set. That's his rookie year.
Oh, really?
And I believe K-Line is in there as well. Hank Aaron is actually not in there, I don't think, which kind of surprised me. But it's a great set, and it's actually, I think it's actually, I don't know if it's a little bit more affordable. Like if you go for the Banks, because it's oversized, I'm sure that kind of turns people away. But
right.
It's a great set, and the placemat actually works really well aesthetically with that.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's not. I mean, what else would you put it in? To cover
right.
it. So it looks great. And for guys like me that just want Museo stuff, or you want Maze stuff, I don't think we care about the oversized type items.
No, not from.
Right. Mike.
Well, there are people that say it's hard to pick a favorite card in your collection, and I would say I was that way for a really, really long time. And then last year happened, in honor of our sponsor for tonight's show. Yeah.
All right. Yes, that's incredible.
That's not a Wheaties card.
No, but
but it's the Wheaties guy.
It is the Wheaties spokesperson, Lou Gehrig. I mean, this is the epitome of a card I never thought I'd own. It symbolizes everything that I have tried to do over the last almost 50 years of doing this. And yeah, to get the card the way I got it, all the things, you know, that had to transpire, and, you know, yeah, it's my favorite card, and it'll probably be that for a really long time, because I wanted it for so long and
Right.
passed on so many of them and missed opportunities and, you know, bad timing and all the things. And then one basically falls in my lap, for lack of a better word. And yeah, that and many others. And so the fact that I get to hold this and it's in my collection, and
Mike, can you show it again?
sure,
If you can find it. Cool.
it's just the registration on, you know, it's such a hard condition set.
Yeah,
And that's just
it's great.
not an ugly baseball card. But some people don't like the set, the DeLong set, and I'm like, how can you not like the DeLong, a floating dude above a baseball stadium, like with the blue background? Like, yeah,
I'm not one of them. That's a great set.
yeah,
And it's just, I mean, it's so Lou Gehrig is larger than life. I mean, there you go. Like that's what that image says to me. All right, Sammy.
I almost feel like it's probably best to finish off on that note with the Lou Gehrig. So I think it's appropriate that it kind of just ends there as far as showcases go.
That's your card, huh? You can just hold up your empty hand. Okay.
There you
Yeah,
go.
here's mine.
So out of respect for the card and for Mike's collection, I think that probably is a good way to, you know.
That's the first time someone's passed. I like it, Sammy. Trailblazer.
That's all.
Cards with stories. Well, Don, Mike, Sammy, thank you guys for jumping on.
Yeah, thank you. It was fun.
We could probably go for like 3 hours, right? But
who's next on the cavalcade of live streams tonight?
For collectors with a Bat Boy story, right? I think that's the plan.
Yes, I believe so.
That John's going to be hosting with Mike Sports History Collector. So you guys should head over to For Collectors. And we'll be back next Sunday night, guys, at 8 o'clock. So have a great week, everybody.
Thanks, Alex.
Take care.
Thanks,
Thank you, guys.
Take care.